So welcome to the weekly meditation atelier. This is a space to pause, recenter and fall awake as you're not beginning your week, we're ending our week. We're doing this session on a Friday. It's a time to connect to the present moment and take an active step in taking care of and maintaining your own well-being. So the session's for 1 hour. We'll begin with a 5 to 10 minute check-in on arrival. Which won't be recorded if you are accessing the live recording. We'll just check in on your needs. So if you are doing this a bit later, just taking a moment to check in with what your needs are today before we set ourselves up. We're going to be doing a sitting practice today, but if you need to do that lying down, then do so. So the practice will be for 30 to 40 minutes, and this week it's a sitting practice. Then we'll move into a 5-minute tea practice. And if you don't fancy taking tea or infusion, simply observing if you don't have anything to drink. This practice invites you to consider bringing mindfulness practice into your daily activities. And I always serve another cup of tea, holding the group in mind. So that's your tea. And then we move into a 5-minute sharing space, which can remain in companionable silence. I'll pause that for the recording at home so you can remain anonymous. And when I say pause, for those people accessing the session later, the invitation is to sit and be with your direct experience of the practice. You might want to journal, so perhaps getting a notebook to hand about what you felt in your body, the sensations. Is this familiar? And yeah, do let me know. Send me an email if anything came up. And then we'll move into a closing meditation. So throughout the classes, there is an emphasis on taking care of your own needs, listening carefully to the guidance to fully support your experience, but following it only if it feels right for you. If I use words or phrases that don't feel right for you, park them and insert your own. The atelier is recorded for those who cannot make it, and as I said earlier, I'll pause the recording when we discuss anything as a group to ensure your anonymity. I can never say that. I'm getting better. So feel free to have your video and sound on mute throughout, and do not feel obliged to contribute. Simply being here and sharing the space together in all corners of the world invites a sense of connection of our shared humanity, our shared experience of being here, and the impermanence of it all. So let's begin. Okay, so setting yourself up for a sitting practice, getting whatever you need, being comfortable. Any quick stretches. It's not easy for the body to sit still for these long periods. So closing your eyes or focusing on a point in front of you, just taking a moment to arrive. Feeling the points of contact that your body is making with the earth. Scanning from your toes, the lower legs, your upper legs, your pelvis, your belly, your back, your arms, your shoulders, your neck and your head. Just checking for any tension, any clenching or tightening that you might be doing without noticing. So let your belly out if you're used to holding that in. This allows your lungs to fill with more air. Checking that your hands aren't clenched, your shoulders aren't up by your ears, your teeth aren't clenched, your eyes, your forehead. And if you are noticing that they're clenched, the invitation to tighten them and then release. can help the process. I'm going to invite you to take 3 deep in breaths and out breaths. You can sigh if you like, nobody can hear you. Now I invite you to take an internal weather report or seascape, whatever works for you. How are you? Does it have a label? Quickly noting it if it's there. Happy, sad, bored, lonely, exhausted, anxious, tired, whatever. Noticing it and then dropping into the felt sensation. What exactly is it? What do you feel? Does it have a shape, a colour, a texture, a movement? Where is it in the body? How are you? And now narrowing your attention back to the breath. Remembering to take care of yourself throughout this practice. If the breath isn't somewhere that you feel comfortable to be with today, finding a point within the body that you can anchor yourself in the present moment, somewhere neutral, without a story. You don't judge. Somewhere neutral for you to spend some time exploring and grounding and anchoring yourself in the present moment. If you are comfortable being with the breath, finding a point within the breath that's most vivid for you today. Remembering that there's no right or wrong way of doing these practices. We're learning to take care of ourselves and listen and learn our body's language, the messages it sends us, anchoring in the moment, in the present. Bringing an open and kind welcome to our experiences. Now I invite you to expand your awareness from the breath to include all of your body. What can you notice? Points of contact that you're making with the earth, the fabric of your clothes, the air that touches your skin. What sensations can you notice? What is your direct experience being in your body? Each time your mind wanders, going off on the stories, the judgments, Gently and firmly guiding yourself back to the practice of breathing in your body. And congratulating yourself for noticing, because this is the key to the practices. And noticing. Your mind is simply doing what minds do, trying to make sense of it all. And we're practicing being with the ordinary, simply being with our breath and our body, that in its ordinariness is quite extraordinary. Your body knows how to take care of you without you telling it, for the most part of the time. And how often it goes ignored till it causes us discomfort, lets us down. And it's completely unsentimental about it. The softness, the hard edges of the bones, the tendons and ligaments, the organs, muscles, the tiny cells. What can you notice as you sit in your body, breathing in this moment? As we share this experience of practicing mindfulness together. Very simple, but difficult nonetheless. And if within the practice you experience sensations that draw your attention away, it could be unpleasant, they could be pleasant. Knowing that you have few options of how to be with your experience. You can move, weaving the movements into the practice, pausing, noticing that your body knows what to do. And then slowing it down and making the movements deliberate and specific and paying attention to them. You can weave them into the practice. They don't need to be separate, that they are the practice. And then resting in the felt sensations of having made those movements. Perhaps noticing relief. What exactly is that? Or perhaps disappointment. And what is that? The expectations of the movement and what they bring. Being with your direct experience. as we break down the elements that make up our experiences. Letting go of wanting things to be different and simply being with things as they are, and taking care of yourself and your own needs. Second option is to bring your attention to the sensations that you notice. You don't need to go right into the middle. You don't need to go right to the source, the discomfort or the distraction. You can explore the edges, where it finishes. Where does it go? Does it have a movement? Is it a solid experience? Does it have a shape, a color, a texture? Is it light or heavy? Does it have a temperature? Whereabouts in the body is it? Is there any tension around what you notice, the experience? Can you let that go? And if you let that go, what are you left with? Simply allowing the experience to be as it is. Using it as a way of anchoring in the present moment. Our lives are made up of moments, and the majority of them are mundane. We're practicing bringing our attention to this moment and this moment. And then thirdly, there's the option of being playful with the breath in the way that we explore within the body scan. That you can direct your breath to the sensation. Again, you can breathe around it, or you can breathe into it. You can use a soft breath or a more forceful breath. Being playful and curious and interested in you and your experience of practicing this mindfulness meditation with kindness, gentleness to your experience of what it is to be you in this moment. Allowing the present to be as it is. You don't need to fix it. Being versus doing. Letting go of the expectations. Being with what's here right now. Room for it all. Sometimes the practice could be relaxing, and other times a struggle. Wherever you are at today, allowing yourself to be with your experience, and as best you can, being with your direct experience of what exactly that is. And anchoring in the present moment. Knowing that those three options are available to you throughout the practice, and throughout your days. You can move. You can rest with the felt sensation of the experience. dropping into it, exploring it. And you can be playful with the breath, perhaps giving a sense of spaciousness, breathing into or around it. So I'm going to invite you now to move your attention away from the body and be with your experience of sounds as sounds. Where do you experience sounds? Not specifically searching for them, but allowing them to arrive. Where are they? What are the sensations that you notice in your body? Do they have a shape, a colour, a texture, a movement? Are they a constant? Or do they disappear? Noticing how the mind wanders and cleverly finds labels and stories. And each time you notice, bringing yourself back to your direct experience of sounds as sounds. Being completely open to the now. The sounds around you, the sounds within you. I'm just going to press mute on myself. You can bring your attention to the sounds in your space. Perhaps noticing how some sounds arrive and pass by, Others are constant. Dropping into the felt sensations and direct experience of sounds as sounds. And now an invitation to move your attention away from sounds and bring your attention to your experience of observing your thoughts. So this is a bit like watching a television screen or standing behind a waterfall. So observing the thoughts arrive and pass by. Some may stay a while. And as best you can, dropping into the felt sensation of your thoughts, of being with your thoughts. Simply noticing. And this is trickier. Not letting the mind wander off into the stories. Observing your thoughts. Like bubbles in a drink, fizzy drink. Clouds passing in the sky. Simply observing yourself. How some thoughts are more intoxicating than others. Some stay. Some pass by quickly. And when being with your direct experience of thoughts, what do you notice? Where do you notice it? Temperatures, colours, textures. Does your breath change? Are there sensations within the body that are distracting? And each time your mind wanders and gets lost in the stories, gently and kindly bringing yourself back. And you picture the waterfall in front of you, the thoughts passing by, this idea that you don't need to stick your head right under it and get cold and drenched and completely involved in the waterfall. And that you can bring yourself back and observe it. Observe the workings of your mind. Your thoughts are thoughts. They're not you, and they're not facts. That they change and move and shift, and more intoxicating sometimes than others. We are a combination of our environments, genes, and our experiences, amongst many other things. And they all impact on how we observe the world and how we make sense of it. as best you can, being with your direct experience of thoughts as thoughts, shapes, colours, textures, temperatures, density. Giving yourself space to observe you. You don't need to fix anything. You can be with your experience as you are right now. Give yourself space. And now an invitation to move your attention away from your experience of thoughts and moving to your experience of your emotions. What are you feeling right now? Where in the body is it? Having a fresh curiosity, being open to what you notice in your body and the emotions that you're experiencing. Your emotions. Where are they? What is it? Where is it? And now I'm going to invite you into a few moments of choiceless awareness, of letting go of paying attention to anything specific or allowing yourself to go where you want to go. As we sit here in companionable silence, this idea of opening the gate and letting a child into a park, or letting a dog off a lead, whatever analogy works for you, of where do you want to go? Letting go of trying to control yourself, simply observing yourself and where you want to go. Maybe it's the breath, maybe you want to go back to thoughts. Maybe you want to finish that shopping list. Simply allowing yourself to go where you want to go. Choiceless awareness. And now moving your attention back to the breath. Simply breathing in and breathing out. And then expanding your awareness to include all of your body. I'm going to close the practice with poem by T.S. Eliot. So remaining where you are still. From East Coca, the Four Quartets. So here I am in the middle way, having had 20 years largely wasted, the years of l'entre-deux-guerres, trying to use words in every attempt as a wholly new start and a different kind of failure, because one has only learned to get the better of words. The thing one no longer has to say, or the way in which one is no longer disposed to say it. And so each venture is a new beginning, a raid on the inarticulate, with shabby equipment always deteriorating. And the general mess of imprecision of feeling, undisciplined squads of emotion, and what there is to conquer by strength and submission has already been discovered, once or twice or several times, by men whom one cannot hope to emulate. There is no competition. There is only the fight to recover what has been lost and found and lost again and again. And now, under conditions that seem unpropitious, but perhaps neither gain nor loss, for us there is only the trying. The rest is not our business. So moving and stretching your body. Let's move into having a cup of tea together. So I'm going to open up the space for sharing. For those of you practicing outside of the space, the invitation is to press pause and sit and be with your direct experience of the practice, which you can journal, thinking about the thoughts, sensations, the physical experience of directing your attention in that way, how that was for you, whether you notice patterns or habits that occur outside of the practice. So the invitation over the next week for your home practice is to sit every day for 5 minutes and do absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sit. You can look out of a window if you must. You can stare at a blank wall. Deliberately and specifically carving out 5 minutes. Put a timer on and sit and do nothing. And that choiceless awareness element that you explored in the practice of simply being, and then dropping into what you need to do to take care of yourself next. So just closing your eyes, bringing your attention to your body, perhaps scanning from your head down to your toes. What sensations can you notice? And now narrowing your attention to your breath, simply breathing in and breathing out. Perhaps finding a point within the breath that's most vivid. Maybe focusing on the in-breath, maybe the out-breath, maybe the pauses. So we're narrowing our attention. And then expanding your awareness to include all of the body. Now I invite you to place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. And just take a moment to think about what you need to do next to take care of yourself. And thanking yourself for having taken the time out of your busy lives to be here, to pay attention to yourself, to pause and connect to yourself. And that in doing so, you're taking an active step in taking care of your own health and own well-being, which allows you to be kind to yourself. and then translates in being kind to others. So as best you can, taking the sense of connection and awareness of whatever you have left to do with your day. See you soon.